Good morning, students. So today we are going to do some questions based on TCS NQT, that is National Qualified Test, as organized every year. And this year, today the date between the dates of 24th and 26th October. So National Qualified Test, if we talk about the overall how the questions are asked, so they have five sections, out of which two sections are for programming MCQs on pseudocode. Other than that, the rest three sections are for quants, logicals, and verbals. Okay, our concern today is going to be the quantitative analysis portion that they ask. The paper NQT had come up in three sets, set A, B, and C, and we are going to look at some questions from set A of that particular test that was asked. Now, overall analysis of that paper in terms of difficulty level, if I would say, it's easy to moderate. The questions are not very difficult, just usage of logic in every question is there, so that they can be solved very easily with proper guidance. Okay, so now looking at the questions, how the questions was, what type of questions were asked, let's go to the first question. Okay, a survey of n people in the town of Badaville found that 50% of them prefer brand A. Another survey of 100 people in the town of Chotaville found that 60% prefer brand A. In total, 55% of all the people surveyed together prefer brand A. What is the total number of people surveyed? Okay, very easy. So it is given 50% of N people from Badaville prefer brand A. So N is already given to me, that N is the total number of people. Now, another survey of 100 people in the town of Chotaville found that 60% prefer brand A. So it's already given to me that in Badaville there are N people and in Chotaville there are 100 people. So in total 50% of all people surveyed prefer brand A. So in total 55% of people preferred brand A. So what we are going to do is zero point 0.5 into N plus zero point 0.6 into 100. I have written this in terms of decimal, and this is equal to 55. So in total, 55 percentage of the people surveyed prefer brand A. So I've written this equal to 55. Now, if we solve this, comes out to be zero point 0.5 n plus 60 is equals to 0.55, sorry, 0.55 into n plus 100. So what I have done here is I have written everything in terms of percentage of people that were surveyed. Okay, now if we solve this, on solving this question, it comes out to be zero point 0.5 n plus 60 is equals to 0.55 n plus 55. 0.05 n is equals to 5. N comes out to be 100. That is total number of people that is surveyed. N is 100 given to me, that is number of people in Badaville is 100, number of people in Chotaville is also 100. So my total number of people that was surveyed becomes 100 plus 100, that is 200. My answer is option A, 200. Now after this step, a lot of us do this mistake of seeing that n already comes out to be 100 and marking D as the answer and moving forward. N is just the number of people from town of Badaville who were, the total number of people in town Badaville who were surveyed. So this n is not my answer, it is just a part of answer. After this, I have to add 100 people from Chotaville as well. Then only I will get my final answer. My final answer is 100 plus 100, that is 200. Okay. Next question. The student lockers at school are numbered consecutively beginning with locker number 1. Consecutive means continuous numbering is done. The plastic digits used to number the lockers cost rupee 1 per piece. Thus, it costs rupees 1 to label locker 9 and rupees 2 to label locker 10. If it costs a total of 7 to 9 to label all the lockers, how many lockers are there at the school? Okay, so total cost of single lockers, if we talk about, okay, so locker number 1 to 9 are all single digits, so they're going to cost rupee 1 per piece. So total number of cost for single digit, total cost if we look for single digit, that is 1 to 9, it becomes 9 into 1, because I'm going to have 9 lockers in this way. Each one of them will cost me 1 rupee. Total cost is going to be 9. Now it is given that for 10, locker number 10, and if I talk about locker number 10 to 99, all of them are now going to cost me rupees 2. That is for every double digit, it is going to cost me rupees 2. So how many lockers am I going to have here? It will be 89, 89 plus 1, that is 90 lockers. So total cost of two digit if we talk about, it becomes 90 into 2, because all of them are going to be double digits, becomes 180. Okay, now similarly we have observed a pattern that if it is single digit, it is 9 into 1, just the number of lockers in single digit, or number of single digits into 1, number of double digits into 2, next becomes number of 3 digits. So total cost for 3 digits, I have 900 three-digit numbers. So 900 into 3 becomes 2700. Okay, now this is going to be the cost. Obviously, when you look at the cost, it's 7293. That is, there are not 9400 four-digit numbers. There are not 9004-digit number. We need to find how many four-digit lockers are there. So first, what I'm going to do is, let's find out what the remaining cost is, because now the remaining cost is going to be of the of the four-digit number. So remaining cost becomes 7293 minus 2700 minus 180 minus 9, comes out to be 4404. That is remaining cost, and this is the cost for all four-digit lockers. Okay. Now I've figured out a way that if it is a four-digit locker, it is going to cost rupees 4. So if it is a four-digit locker, it will cost rupees 4, because single digit was 1, two digit was 2, three digit is 3. Four-digit locker is going to cost rupees 4. Now, next thing that I have to find out is how many total four-digit lockers are there. So total number of four-digit lockers is 4404 is the cost for four digit locker, divided by 4. 4 is the cost of one four digit locker. 1101 comes out to be number of my four digit lockers. Now, what they have asked in the question, how many lockers are there at the school? Number of lockers at the school becomes 9 plus 90 plus 900 plus 1109. That is single digit locker plus double digit locker plus triple digit locker plus four digit locker. When we do all of this, when we add all of them, it comes out to be 2100. The number of lockers in the school comes out to be 2100. My answer is option C. Next question. A owes B rupees 50. He agrees to pay 50 back over a number of consecutive days. Consecutive is again continuous days, starting on Monday, and paying a single note of rupees 10 or rupees 20 on each day. In how many different ways can A repay B? Okay, two ways are said to be different if at least on one day a note with a different denomination is given. Alright, so now rupees 50 I have to return, and rupees 50 can be given with rupees 10 or rupees 20. So using different combinations of 10 rupees and 20 rupees, I can give out my money. Now, different cases. We're going to define different cases. First case that we can define. So we're going to define different cases. First case that I can define is I can give 5 10 rupees note. I can give 5 10 rupees note. So that is 10, 10, 10, 10 and 10. Now, it is said two ways are said to be different if at least one note is given with a different denomination is given on different days. So 10 rupee note, it's like all of them are same denomination. So if I give this note first day, or this note first day, or this second day, if I cannot form any other way out of this. So if 5 10 rupees note are given, this is going to be just one way of paying back. Now, second way of paying back that we can do is I can give 10 rupee, 10 rupee, 10 rupee and a 20 rupee note. So we can go this way, 10 rupee, 10 rupee, 10 rupee and a 20 rupee. My sum is going to be 50 rupees only. Now, how many different ways are possible? So first, I can have 4 factorial ways of giving this money. But out of this, 3 quantities are same. So this becomes 4 factorial divided by 3 factorial. That is, in 4 ways, I can give back this 10, 10, 10 and 20 using this denomination. Now, third, what I can do is I can use a 10 rupee note, a 20 rupee note and another 20 rupee note. Here, my number of ways becomes 3 factorial, that is total number of notes, divided by repetition. Repetition is 2, becomes 3 ways. Using 3 different ways, I can give back money using 10, 20, and 20 rupee note. Total number of ways. Total number of ways is addition of each case. My answer comes out to be 1 plus 4 plus 3. That is total. I'm going to have 8 ways of giving back my money. Answer is option D. Now, next question. A person travels from Chennai to Pondicherry in cycle at 7.5 kilometers per hour. Another person travels the same distance in train at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour and reaches 30 minutes earlier. Find the distance. Okay, so 30 minutes, first I'm going to convert into hours. It is going to be half hour. Now, reach 30 minutes earlier. So whatever the difference of the terms would be, difference of the time, whatever it is equal to half hour. Okay. So let the distance between Chennai and Pondicherry, let's begin with that only. Let the total distance be x. I know speed equal to distance upon time. Time equal to distance upon speed. Distance equal to speed into time. All these three quantities, these are interconvertible. That is, I can always write speed in terms of distance, distance in terms of speed. Whatever way we want to do it, I can do it that way. One thing for sure is given to me that I have the two different speeds. I have one 7.5 kilometer, I have one 30 kilometer per hour, and the difference of these two times, whatever is taken by them to travel using two different speeds, it is given to me as 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the difference of these two times and equate it to half. Or what we can do is another person travels the same distance in train at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour and reaches 30 minutes earlier. So what I'm going to do is time taken by the person. Time is distance upon speed. X upon 7.5 is the time in the first case. X upon 30 is the time in the second case. So whatever is the time is taken by person in first case when he is traveling by cycle, it is obviously more. It is how much more it is? It is half an hour more than the time taken by the person to reach using train. So what I'm going to do is time taken by cycle becomes x by 7.5 equals to half an hour more than time taken by the person to reach the same distance with the train, x by 30 plus 1 by 2. Now 30 minutes we have already converted into hours. When we solve this, x upon 7.5 minus x upon 30 equals to 1 by 2. Solve this. When we will solve this equation, it comes out to be value of x is 5 kilometers. This is just one equation, one variable. Can be solved very easily. Taking x common, doing 1 upon 7.5 minus 1 upon 30, finding denominator value of x comes out to be 5 kilometers. My answer is option A. Okay. Next question. Crusoe's weight in a week are 5 kg, 15 kg, 30, 135 kg, 405, 1215 kilometers. Find the odd weight. Okay, so the weights that are given here, it's actually following a pattern. So basically what we have to do is we have to do the odd man out of the particular series that is given to us. Series is 5, 15, 30, 135, 405, and 1215. Now 5 into 3 is 15. 15 into 2 is 30. 135 into 3, it's 405. 405 into 3 is this number. So one thing for sure is clear is out of 15, 30, or 135, something is wrong because rest of the terms, it's everything is like previous term into 3. So pattern that is observed here is previous term into 3. Okay, 15 is previous term into 3. That is okay. Now, whatever term 15 is correct now. Now it's either 30 or 135 that is wrong. So if 30 is wrong, what should come up here? It should be 15 into 3, that is 45. Now, if I do 45 into 3, 45 into 3 is 135. Okay, so my wrong term here is 30 because this term 135, it is given according to the correct term. This 135 is defined according to the correct term. Correct term would have been 45. According to that, and following the pattern that is previous term into 3, this 135 is given to me. So the odd man out. or the odd weight according to the question, it is option B, that is 30. My answer is option B, 30. Okay. Next, Raj travels a part of journey by taxi paying rupees 15 per kilometer and the rest by train paying 21 per kilometer. If it travels a total of 450 kilometers and pays 8130, then the distance traveled by Raj in train is okay. Let the distance traveled by Raj in train, let this be x. Consider this to be x. Now, the distance traveled by Raj using taxi becomes 450 minus x, that is taxi distance. One thing that is given to me is taxi is taking 15 rupees per kilometer and train is taking 21 rupees per kilometer. Total amount is also given to me. So we are going to do 15 rupees for the total journey for taxi plus 21 rupees for the journey by train. It is equals to 8130. One equation, one variable can be solved very easily. 15 into 450 minus x plus 21x equals to 8130. When you solve this, your value of x comes out to be 230. The value of x here, that is the distance traveled by Raj in train, it comes out to be 230 kilometers. So accordingly, I can say distance traveled by, this is my train. Distance traveled by taxi also I can find, it comes out to be 220 kilometers, which is not needed. I just needed 230. My answer is option A. Next question. If M is 30% of Q, Q is 20% of P, N is 50% of P, then find the ratio of M upon N. That is what we have to do. Okay, so Q is 20% of P given to us already, and M is 30% of Q, that is 30% of 20% of P. I'm just replacing Q by 20% of P. So if we do this, this becomes 30 by 100 into 20 by 100 into P, comes out to be 6 upon 100. Okay, so M is 6 upon 100 into P. Now, N given to me is 50% of P, that is 50p by 100. I'm just keeping it 50p by 100 so that when we have to find the ratio, m upon n, p gets cancelled out. Okay, m is 6p by 100, n is 50p by 100, m by n becomes 6p by 100 into 100p by 100 upon 50p. Okay, p cancels out, 100 cancels out, this becomes 6 by 50, that is 3 upon 25. My answer is option B, 3 upon 25. Answer to this question comes out to be B, that is 3 by 25. Okay, now next question. Okay, this is with respect to a diagram. Find the sum of sharp angles of the given 5-pointed star. Okay, now 5-pointed star and sharp angle means that we want to have the sum of these top angles that is mentioned. These top angles is what we have to find out, some of these. So if I can find out one angle, let's say if I can find out value of A, sum of the sharp fang angles becomes A into 5. I'll have my answer. Okay. Now, in the center of this figure that is given to me, there is a regular polygon and it's a regular pentagon. I know. Sum of sharp angles, whatever is there inside, whatever figure is given inside, it's always a regular figure. And here it is a regular pentagon. Sum of angles of a pentagon or sum of angles of any polygon, it's equals to n minus 1 into, it's sorry, n minus 2 into 180 degrees. So this becomes 5 minus 2 into 180, where n is the side of the figure. So sum of angles of a pentagon becomes 3 into 180, that is 540 degree. So sum of all the angles becomes 540. Also, I can find measure of each angle. So one angle becomes 540 divided by 5, that is 108 degrees. So each angle, each of these angles, these are 108 degrees. Directly also know, I also know this directly, that one angle it is equal to 108 degree. Okay. Now if I have the value of this angle, I can find the supplementary angle also. Supplementary angle, let me call it as B. Supplementary angle B is equals to 180 degree minus 108 degree. That is 72 degree. My answer is for this supplementary angle B, it's equal to 72 degree. Now, since it's a 5-pointed star and it's already a regular pentagon, this is 72 degree. How do I prove that this side and these two sides are equal? Because if these two sides I'm not taking as equal, I'll not be able to find the top angle. This angle is 108 degree. This angle is also 108 degrees. Similarly, if you find out C, let's say this angle as C, C will also come out to be 72 degree. 72, 72, that means these two sides, these are equal. All I have to do is find the top angle. So top angle becomes, I know sum of angles of a triangle, it's equals to 180 degree. My top angle will become 180 degree minus 72 degree minus 72 degree comes out to be, if I do the subtraction, my top angle comes out to be 36 degree. So one sharp angle, that is my value of this A. One sharp angle is 36 degree. I need to find the sum of all the sharp angles. Similarly, it will be true for every triangle that is formed, every supplementary angle that is formed. My answer comes out to be 36 into 5, that is 30. 36 into 5, do the multiplication, it comes out to be 180 degree. My answer is option B, 180 degree. Next question. Two decks of cards are there. Each deck contains 20 cards with numbers from 1 to 20 written on them. Okay. A card is drawn of random from each deck, getting the numbers x and y. What is the possibility that log x plus log y is a positive number and logs are taken to the base 10? Okay, now log x plus log y. I know it is equals to log of x into y. And this is base 10. Okay, now total number of possibility of deck 1 and deck 2. This is deck 1 and deck 2. Now it becomes multiplication. Total number of possible outcomes, it's 20 into 20. That is 400 possible outcomes are there. Now, log xy. Log xy is going to be an integer only when x comma y gives me something that is going to give me either something like 10 or 100 or maybe 1000. I have to get an integer value out of this because it is given in the question log x plus log y is a positive integer. This is only going to happen when it is either 10 or 100 or 1000 or some multiple of 10. Okay. Possibilities for x comma y out of these 20 cards numbered from 1 to 20 to give me an integer. Possible cases are 1 comma 10, 10 comma 1. This will give me multiplication of x into y as 10. This is also going to give me 10. Next, what I can get is I can do 10 comma 10. This is going to give me 100. I can do 5 comma 20. I can do 20 comma 5. I can do 2 comma 5. I can do 5 comma 2. I can also do 5 comma 5, but that will give me 25. Log base 10 into 25 is not going to give me a positive integer. Positive integers that is possible is only with either x into y is 10 or x into y is 100. Other than that, we're not going to have any positive integers. Okay, so required cases that are giving me the answer is 7. Probability becomes 7 by 400. My answer is option C. Okay, next question. How many six digit even numbers can be formed from digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that the digits should not repeat? Important thing, no repetition. And second last digit is even. Second last digit is even and no repetitions. Okay. Six digit numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This place is also even. This place is also even. No repetitions allowed. Important condition is both of them, since they are even, possibilities we're going to begin from the last place. Okay. If this has to be even 2, 4, or 6. Now one of them is obvious. So this becomes three ways. Now one of them is obviously going to be used here. Only two options remain for here. That is either it is 2, 4, 4, 6, anything of that sort. So here it is going to be two ways. Three ways, two ways. Now I have seven options. Options were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of them, two of them would be used here. So for the first place that I have, if I talk about the MSB, possible options are going to be just 5. Next space would be 4. Next would be 3. Next would be 2. See, obviously, since this is no repetition, 5 numbers can come up here. One of them would be used here. Options remaining for the next space is 4 options. One of them would be used here. Options remaining for next space is 3. One of them would be used. Options remaining for next space is 2. So, total number of getting how many possibilities are there becomes 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 2 into 3. When we do the multiplication, this comes out to be 720. That is number of ways which is possible, so that last place is even and second last is also even, comes out to be option D, that is 720.